Well, welcome back to the Real Estate 401k show. I'm your host, and I'm back in action. Mike Weinstein alongside Justin Frederick and Ryan Gerdes. You're going to want to go ahead and how about just text the word qualify. Big word. 623 AZ Recon. That's qualify.
Spell that for
All
everybody.
right. Is it with the silent P?
Not in the English fashion, like American English. It's good to have you back, pal.
Oh, my
We
God.
had fun without you, but it's good to have you back.
I appreciate that, and it was just an absolute joy to hang out with my son, who is going to college in Tokyo, and going out and spending a little bit of time with him.
Yeah, it's good that you did that.
Yeah.
Dude, just eating my way through Tokyo. That's
Shocker.
Yeah, what a surprise.
All right, there's been so much discussion, about interest rates and being able to qualify for mortgages and all the things that go into it. One of the things that's not really being discussed, and I'm seeing it as one of the biggest deal killers, and not in the sense of whether somebody can qualify for a house or not. It's a matter of what they can qualify for. You take a look at credit card debt and student loans and debt to income ratios and things like this. But I'm telling you, it's a problem. It's homeowners insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Homeowners insurance has done nothing but gone up exponentially. We're expecting it to go up again, probably Q1 of 2025. And Justin, I'm just seeing this as one of the biggest gut kickers for a lot of people. But it's not being talked about, and it's so important to really do your shopping.
It's been an issue for us probably for the past 2 years. We used to pre-qualify people with using $50 at homeowners insurance per month. I mean, this was probably this was probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and it would be crazy if you saw somebody over $50 per month. Now we use $125, and honestly, it's so different across the board. It's incredible. And the hardest part about homeowners insurance is this is not something that you can predict. Each house is different depending on the age of the home or what types of claims have been done on that home or your borrower has done. And it's just not something that we can get a number on. I have an example. We had somebody last week. They got a quote for $6,103 annually. That's $500.
Is this for owner-occupied home?
Owner-occupied home. $508 per month was their homeowners. Some people have a mortgage payment that high.
Right.
That's insane.
That's higher than property taxes for
That's
most
what they
homes.
tried to rack me for on this last go around, and I was like,
Yeah.
Because go ahead.
Well,
Let
we
you
ended
finish
up
the story.
We ended up shopping it out with the customer, and we ended up getting them down to $2,000 a month. But at the end of the day, she had a water claim for a water heater. It was like less than $10,000 in damages, but she didn't know that this was going to affect her for her basically. I think it's 10 years until it falls off for insurance purposes. But that's just insane. Mm-hmm. That's an insane number.
My experience is it's always been best to bundle it all together, like to go wherever what we've always said was if you have great insurance history with your auto, if you're a first-time home buyer, go and get a quote from them for your home because they're going to not only give you a discounted rate on your home, but then they're going to give you further discounts on your auto. That narrative has changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't care. They're going to go over there. What they're going to look at is any type of claim history you've had, and then just mark it against you, and everything is almost going to be a la carte. There's no additional discounts now. We're still seeing discounts based on if you have kids that are doing well in school, if you're close to a fire hydrant, if you kind of have some of these things, but has less to do with the property. It has more to do with the property itself, and not really like giving you any additional incentives for being a good customer. So if you've paid all your bills,
don't care.
yeah,
They don't.
Yeah, if you've paid all your bills and you paid on time, they're like, okay, well that's what you were supposed to do. But then, because you filed a claim for a chipped windshield on your auto, now we're going to go over here to your home and say, oh no, you're the type of person that likes to claim things, and so we're going to adjust your insurance up over there. That's been my personal experience. So we have like 5 auto policies and 8 home policies that we had that we were getting that were coming up for renewal, and I was looking at it and I was like, they're getting ready to charge me $17,000 just for a couple of these auto policies, and then they were obviously going to escrow the rest of the home, and then that was going to go up each one like $115 a month, and I was like, you are outside of your mind. So I had to get on the horn with 4 different people, and I even called my insurance guy who I'd been with for years, and I was like, hey bud, I hate to tell you this, but you're no longer competitive, and you've got to sort your shit out if you want to keep my business, because while I love you and I know that you go to bat for me whenever it comes time to file a claim, but I'm not calling you very often to file claims. So why am I getting all these increases on my premium? And he basically kind of had to say, you know what? I get it, man. You got to shop it out, because right now my underwriters are soft, and they're just gonna keep kicking your ass.
Well, and this is the problem for me is, I'm a bundle guy. You bundle it all together.
Sure.
I've got one guy that, it's my insurance guy that I can call if I got some issues or questions and so forth. But as you know, Ryan, because you just went through it, when you have multiple properties and multiple vehicles, bundling, gathering all that information to shop is a pain in the butt, because there's so many variables. And where the state of affairs are with insurance going up tremendously year over year, I'm now forced every single year to shop this thing, and it takes a lot of bit of time. And and I'm not a big government guy. I'm the government needs to stay out of our business, and the amount of shit that the government interjects themselves in, and like we all have pellet smokers, right? So the federal government has now said you can't be able to turn on your smoker through an app because of control. They want you to have to manually turn on your...
Is that why you can't you can't turn it on the app anymore? I did not know that.
Yeah.
And it just started not too long ago.
Not too long. I mean, the amount of stuff that they interject themselves in is mind-boggling, and it's why we're so frustrated with the government and why we distrust the government. But this is one area I'd love to see the government get involved in and limit and monitor these insurance companies, because for me, my perspective of it, it's a free-for-all. And they are crushing people and they're killing people right now.
Well, my problem, if the government gets involved, we know what happens every single time. Costs are just going to go up even further, and that's what I feel.
But I meant some sort of cap.
There's got to be something. But from my insurance guys, they're telling me you have to shop this every 1 to 2 years, because we're giving you a new client rate when you're coming in, and if you're not shopping it, they're gonna increase your policies.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
that's frustrating.
Yeah, all mine were destined to go up by at least 50%.
Yeah,
just on this one premium cycle, or not premiums, this annual cycle, and so I was able to find a couple of different deals, and I decreased my homes by about 15%, and definitely decreased
Awesome.
my auto by. We did just buy a new vehicle, and they were trying to get me for something like $1,200 a month on my vehicle.
On your new vehicle?
Yeah.
$1,200 a month?
A month?
A month.
What?
Right? Double what my actual monthly payment is on it, because
Isn't that car like one of the safest cars out there?
dude? I can't explain it.
Yeah.
Like I was at a loss for words when they were giving me these.
It's not like
numbers.
you brought a Bugatti or something.
Yeah, no. They wanted $1,200 a month, and I was like,
That's more than your payment.
outside of your mind. Double
Yeah.
what my payment is. Yeah, and I was just like, no. So we did get it down to $200 a month, and I was like, okay. I guess that's good. I remember being able to pay, $45, $50 a month, and I haven't had a speeding ticket in over a decade. I've never, had any type of issues. Like, okay, whenever they try to hit me with one of those erroneous, whenever you drive through the cameras and they try to give me tickets for that, I'm like, you guys can go pound sand. So
Well, and I think the point of the conversation and what our listeners need to understand that it was never a big deal in the past. Like you said, Justin, 4 years ago, we can assume that, it was $50. And then for me, it was just always, plan on $100. It is imperative for buyers now to really take this into consideration. And it may not necessarily be a bad idea to have some conversations with your insurance people and be prepared as you get the qualifying process going. And we'd love to have that discussion with you. Shopping, we have some great people that we work with, but there's a lot of nuances to getting a mortgage, and we'd love to have that conversation with you. All you got to do is text the word qualify to 623-AZ-RECON. That's qualify to 623-AZ-RECON. Now, here's where I want to take the conversation, because now it is imperative to second guess yourself or just step back and think, I just had some water damage, or this happened to my house. And typically we're like, just go file a claim. You got to think twice about that now. You have to take a look at the math. Like, if I file a claim on this, because it doesn't really matter whether the claim, in my opinion, and I'm not an insurance expert, if I file a claim for $1,000, is it that much of a difference if I had filed a claim for $10,000 on the potential impact on my rates going up? I think you have to second guess yourself and start doing some math before you just automatically go, hey, I'm going to file a claim.
And I think that's what one of the objectives were of a lot of these adjusters, but the fact that they're spreading it out over the masses is the part that kind of irritates me. But I'm not one of those guys that goes running to the insurance company. I laughed my ass off when I was talking to my buddy up in Alaska, and it was right after Hurricane Katrina, and he's like, "Dude, that happens up here in Alaska every year. We get these massive freezes."
I was about to say hurricanes.
No, they get these massive freezes and that burst all their pipes and whatnot. Particularly the folks that are elderly that can't really get in there and do a lot of the maintenance that the younger folks can, and they'll or they'll get a huge snow drift that caves in their roof. They'll get all these things, and instead of filing insurance or relying on FEMA or the government to pay for it, they just do it themselves, and they work as a community to take care of it. Now, there's more people that live in Tucson, Arizona than the entire state of Alaska, so we're dealing with a lot bigger numbers in most cases. But at the end of the day, I think that it's good that a lot of people are, that it's forcing a lot of people to take responsibility and accountability of taking care of their own stuff and doing preventative measures in order to prevent them from filing those claims and doing consistent inspections. Because as a real estate investor, every 2 to 3 years, I hire an inspector to go into my investment properties just to make sure that everything's on the up and up in there, because I would rather take care of a leaky pipe right now rather than waiting for it to burst and completely flood the entire property. And it only cost me $450 per home to get that inspection done. And it's not just the peace of mind. It's not just that. I no longer have to worry about relocating my tenant and pissing them off or possibly damaging our relationship. And it's just overall good business because it keeps the machine running.
All right, you guys, give me a quick synopsis of whether you've done it before, the only time or the last time you actually filed a claim with your homeowner's insurance.
I've never done it.
2 years ago. investment properties underground. The sewer line it had snapped, and then raw sewage was dumping into it, and that's even me doing my inspections every few years. So it's not even a perfect scenario. It's not even it's not a perfect model, but nothing is. But yeah, it had snapped, backed up, and we had to do a complete kitchen remodel. I had to relocate those tenants for a few months and get contractors in there, and they did a bang up job. And but prior to that, never. That was the first time I'd ever filed an insurance claim ever that had to do with home.
Yeah, and I'll tell my quick story. But Justin, when you're getting a mortgage, people are going to be listening to this. Well, screw it. I'm not going to get insurance then. You got no choice if you're getting a mortgage. And I heard a story years ago. Somebody had a cabin up in Forest Lakes, and they paid off their mortgage, and they're like, "Screw this! I'm not getting homeowners insurance. I don't want to pay for it." And then fire kicks in and burnt down the entire place. And like, you probably should have kept insurance. But I remember a couple of years ago, had to replace a toilet. And the guy that replaced the toilet as he was installing the toilet, I guess busted the flange. And to this day, I don't even know what a flange is, but it's part of the toilet.
We know,
apparently.
buddy. We know.
And so I guess for months it was just dripping. And so we have a basement underneath our master bathroom. And my wife goes, "Mike, can you come down here for a second?" And I come down, and you know how when you know that bubble when water starts seeping through, and you got the paint on the ceiling, and then you can just see that bubble, and so there's the bubble, and she's like, "What is going on here?" And and her fingers, her index fingers out, and is just going up, and
no.
I was like in slow motion. I was like, no. and she poked that.
Wait, how'd that go again?
And so she poked that sucker, and we have our basement's about 2,200 square feet, all continuous carpet at that time, and because it was sewage, just even one drop on one part of the carpet meant the insurance covered the entire flooring that we wanted because it was all continuous. And so we ended up with we weren't planning on.
Can you tell the rest of the story though? When she popped it,
it just
did it go all over her?
All over her hand, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so it didn't get all over her face or anything like that.
No, but that would have been fantastic. And so it ended.
We would have had a whole new nickname for that happened.
But yeah, so we ended up. That was the only time we filed a claim because it was big, and so we ended up. We weren't planning on remodeling our bathroom. But we ended up getting the bathroom remodeled, and then we kicked in some extra cash. Might as well get the second bathroom remodeled and so forth. But at that point, we're looking at, it was, $25,000 in damage. And so we're like, all right, we're going to file the claim, and hopefully we don't get killed, when it comes time for, so you got to do the math and figure out whether it's worth it or not, A $600 to $1,000 claim, I don't know whether it's worth filing the claim anymore.
For sure.
Well, yeah, typically your deductible is going to be more than that too.
Yeah.
And before we wrap up here, there's just a couple of little pearls I want to drop on there. Contact your insurance provider. More often than not, they're going to let you fill out what's called an audit. And you can fill out any work that's been done that shows that you're being proactive and making sure that there's not any deferred maintenance. And they will generally give you about a 25% reduction in your premium. And so contact them, make sure that you fill all that out, and any work that's been done, have it properly documented. And then the other big takeaway out of this is if you are in the market to buy, or if you are in the market to refinance, you need to reach out to Justin and his team. If you're using one of those big box ones, or someone who's not having these conversations with you, more often than not, they're directing your insurance over to whoever the hell is paying them, okay? And if they're in their pocket, they're not really looking out for what the best premiums or what the best coverage would be for you. They're usually just going to get the minimum coverage that's going to satisfy the underwriter over on the lending side. and you don't know whether or not they have a good reputation satisfying claims or customer service or anything in the middle of that. So you do have options. You do have the right to shop out your own insurance, and having somebody that has a Rolodex of insurance providers that have been vetted and tried and true, it can mean the whole world of difference whenever it comes to any type of insurance coverage and claims that you may have in the future.
All right, and in order to get a hold of Justin, and it's just amazing now. If you are buying a home, insurance was never a big part of the discussion or the strategy, but it is incredibly important to take that into account. And it's going to take a little bit of time and do some homework and do some research. Would love to introduce you to Justin and his team and get you on the path. All you got to do is text the word qualify to 623-AZ-RECON. That's qualify to 623-AZ-RECON.